In today's video, we're going to talk about retirement savings. Specifically, we're going to dive into the statistics and answer the question, how much do people have saved for retirement? Understanding this will help us know where we stand with others, and then we can talk about how to improve our own situation. All right, let's talk about the statistics on where people stand currently with their retirement savings. And this definitely varies greatly depending on your age and your income level. Let's take a look at these numbers. If you are age 14 to 24, the average person has $4,745.25 in their retirement savings. And I do want to say this money should be invested. It should not just be sitting in a savings account. And then if you are age 25 to 29, it's $9,408, and then we move up to age 30 to 34, it's $21,731. Then moving to age 35 to 39, it's almost 50 grand, it's $48,710. And then moving to age 40 to 44, it's over 100 grand, $101,899. Moving to age 45 to 49, it's $148,950. Moving to age 50 to 54, we actually drop the amount. We go down to $146,068. So that is interesting. And then ages 55 to 59, we go up to $223,493. And then ages 60 to 64, we are at $221,451. At age 65 to 69, we actually drop a little bit again. We are down to $206,819. Figure out where you are on this chart, which age you are, and determine if you are on par with the average American and their retirement savings. Usually, retirement savings increases with age, but you can see where it did drop a little bit. But unfortunately, these numbers are lower than what most financial advisors or financial coaches recommend. Let's take a look at what Fidelity has said about how much you should have saved by age. They start at age 30, and you should have 1 times the amount of your annual income saved. For example, if you are making 50 grand at age 30, you should already have 50 grand saved for retirement. And then we move to just 5 years later, age 35, you should have double that amount. So you should have 100 grand saved. And then we move to age 40, you should have 3 times the amount saved. And then 45 is 4 times, and then age 50 is 6 times, and then age 55 is 7 times, age 60 is 8 times, and then age 67 is 10 times the amount. So this is what Fidelity is recommending, and I've seen a lot of others very similar to this. But actually, this still feels really low. In the FIRE movement, we talk about having 25 times our annual expenses saved before we can retire, or I should say invested before we can retire. And this is saying you only need 10 times your income, and maybe they are thinking you aren't going to spend all of your money, but I like looking at the expenses, exactly what you're going to spend. And that's the amount that we need to focus on because that's what we will be spending. I want you to figure out how much you really have invested for retirement and see how close you are to these numbers, but then think about, okay, where do I really need to be if I want to retire by a certain age? And the reason I like using the 25 times the amount of your annual expenses to have that amount invested before you retire is because of the Trinity study. There's been a study done that shows this money will most likely last you through retirement. Of course, it's not a 100% guarantee, and I break this down even further in another video. I will leave a link to that above. You can check it out later on. But I feel like this is a great goal to work toward, having 25 times your annual expenses invested. That way you're not going to feel stressed about money, especially if you only have 10 times the amount saved. And now let's talk about factors that affect your retirement savings. There are several factors that can affect how much people have saved for retirement. Some of the main ones include, number 1, income. Usually higher income earners are going to have more money to save, so they'll put more toward retirement. At least that's what we hope they would do. When people increase their income, they usually increase their expenses. They have that lifestyle creep. We want to be really careful that we don't do that. One way that we can do that is to have a plan for the money when we know we are getting a raise or an increase in income somehow. If we already have a plan to invest that extra money that we will be receiving, then we can really boost our retirement savings. And I understand that lower income earners are not able to save that much, but usually their expenses are also going to be lower. So you have to take into account what your own expenses are and how much money you need to be saving or investing for retirement. It could be what those numbers showed before. That could be what you need to live off of. Or most likely it could be a lot higher than that. Another factor that affects retirement savings is your employment status. Those who are self-employed or have a 9-to-5 job usually have access to some type of retirement account. For those that have the 9-to-5, they usually have a 401k that they're getting offered. So if they are contributing to that, that is going to, of course, boost their retirement savings. And they can automate it, which makes it even easier. They can just have a certain percentage that comes out of their paycheck every 2 weeks that goes directly into their 401k. And if you are doing that, make sure that it is going into your 401k and then into the stock market and not just sitting in cash in your 401k account. And some people are even lucky enough to have access to a pension. I feel like this is dwindling. A lot of people do not have access to that, but if you do, that is amazing. That is also going to boost your retirement savings. And then those that are self-employed, make sure and set up your own retirement account and invest in that retirement account. And then there are other accounts like a brokerage account you can set up, which is a non-retirement account, but that way you can still invest as much money as you want to inside of the stock market. And of course, you can pull that out before typical retirement age, but if we leave it in there, then we're going to have even more money invested and more money in our retirement years. And then age plays another factor in our retirement savings. As you can see from that chart earlier, usually the older we are, the more we are able to invest because we've usually started a career and have been at that career for a while. We've received raises, so we are making more money, or we've started our own business and we've continued to increase the profits from our business and we're able to invest from those. So don't be discouraged if you are in your 20s and you do not have a ton of money invested. Just make sure that you do start as early as possible and continue to build your investments over time. And then debt is another factor that plays into retirement savings. Those with high levels of debt are, of course, going to struggle with investing for their retirement. Because most likely, if our interest rate on our debt is 8% or higher, we want to pay that off first before investing because we can make around 8 to 10% on average in the stock market. Now, if you have lower interest debt, you can definitely invest and pay off your debt at the same time. That way you're paying down debt, but you're also investing your money and starting to make it work for you. And then another factor of how much people have saved for retirement is their savings rate. Those who save or invest a higher percentage of their income are, of course, going to build up their retirement savings quicker. This is talked a lot about in the FIRE movement, the Financial Independence Retire Early movement. A lot of people have a higher percentage that they are saving or putting toward investing for retirement. If you haven't heard of Mr. Money Mustache, I would definitely check out his blog. He has saved a significant amount over his lifetime, and that is a main factor that helped him retire early. And I want to show you his chart that he created because this breaks it down very simply. You can see the percentage you are saving or investing, and then the number of years that you still have to work. This is from his article, The Shockingly Simple Math Behind Early Retirement. It's a pretty catchy title. But if we take a look at his graph, so this is actually based on a 5% return on investment, which is very achievable. And then he says you are going to live off 4% of your income. So you'll have that 4% safe withdrawal rate. And then of course, with some flexibility in there. If we take a look at this chart, we can see that if we are saving 5% of our investing, and I want to clarify we are investing, right? We're getting that at least 5% return after inflation. So if we are saving 5%, we will have to work 66 more years. Now, if we jump up and we are saving 20%, then we are able to retire in 37 years. And now let's take a look and say, all right, what if I save half of my income? Then I'm going to be able to retire in 17 years. That is not a very long time in the grand scheme of things. Really consider, what is your savings rate? How much are you putting toward your retirement right now? And how can you increase that so that you can lower the number of years you actually have to work? And of course, it is up to us. We can work as long as we want to or as long as we are able to. But wouldn't it be nice to have that peace of mind as soon as possible? That if something was to go wrong, we could immediately quit our jobs and be just fine. All right, let's talk about some ways that we can boost our retirement savings. The first one, I bet you can guess, is to start early. We want to start investing as soon as possible. The earlier we invest, the more time our money has to grow and take advantage of compound interest, which is our money creating interest and then interest growing on that interest. And I honestly cannot emphasize this enough. I want to take a look at a chart and show you exactly the difference it is going to make by investing as soon as possible. Okay, if we take a look at this chart, we can see that if we start out with $10,000 in our account and then we add $1,000 every single month, after a period of 10 years, we are going to have $236,000 invested. Now let's take a look at another chart. If we still start with that $10,000 and then we invest $1,000 a month still, but we have 30 years to do this instead of just 10 years, we are going to be over $2.4 million. You can see by adding that extra 20 years, we're able to increase our investments significantly because of compound interest. And you can see that it is the green color in this chart. That is compound interest. That blue is the amount we are putting in. Now, if we wanted to get to $2.4 million in just 10 years, and we still start with that $10,000 investment, we would need to contribute $12,000 a month in that 10 years to get to that $2.4 million. So you can see, the earlier you start investing and the more money you're able to invest, the higher your investment accounts are going to be because of compound interest. I definitely wish I would have started earlier investing my money, because once I was investing my money and I was seeing that growth, it was astronomical compared to my money sitting in my savings account. And honestly, I wanted to invest more and more money. And that is part of the reason I started my business, so that I could help people learn to invest their money, to make it work for them so that they could stop working for the money. And if you want help doing this, I have a free masterclass about investing in the stock market. I will leave a link to that below in the description. You can check that out. By looking at these charts, we can see that we definitely want to be maxing out any retirement accounts or investment accounts that we have as soon as possible. And of course, we can do that through a 401k. We can set up our own Roth IRA or traditional IRA, or if we have our own business, there are business accounts that we can set up, or even that brokerage account, which is for everybody. And if you want more details about a brokerage account, I do have a video about that. I will leave a link above. You can check that out later on. Another tip for boosting our retirement savings is to get a side hustle or even a part-time job. There are a lot of different ways out there to make money right now, especially online. Just pick something that you are interested in and start it as a little side hustle. And eventually it could become even a full-time business, or you can keep it at a side hustle. But any money that we can make and contribute to our investment accounts is really going to help us boost that retirement savings. And if you're thinking, I don't have time for a side hustle or a part-time job, well, what are your goals? What are you willing to sacrifice to become financially free, to retire at the age that you want to? It's entirely up to you, but really sit down and consider what is important to you. And maybe getting a part-time job is not important to you right now, and that's totally fine. It depends on your situation. But if it does work for you, then do it. Take the initiative and get it done. Start making some more money so that you can invest more money. Another thing we can do is pay off our high interest debt as soon as possible. The sooner we can do that, then the amount that we are paying toward that debt can go toward investing. And another tip for boosting our retirement savings is to work with a financial coach or a mentor. Find someone that has done what you want to do and ask them questions, work with them, get ideas from them. We don't have to go it alone. Comment below and tell me one thing you are going to do to boost your retirement savings. And hopefully you have a clearer picture on where you should be with your retirement goals. Now that you know how much people have saved for retirement, you can see where you are in comparison and boost your retirement savings even further. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and to the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more awesome content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.